Should I say that or you say that?
I'll do that. There we go. Boom, boom, boom.
Perfect.
Hey, this is Tyler with T-Jack Survival.
Hey, fellow backyard boyers. Nick here.
And we are going to make a PVC bow, so stay tuned.
Today we're going to be building a simple youth longbow out of PVC pipe. The pipe we're working with today is Schedule 40 3/4 inch pipe, and we're using Silverline brand, which I've found makes a slightly heavier bow. So while I would normally go about 48 to 50 inches, today we're going to be starting with a 52 inch length. So I've marked the center of the bow and 2 inches out from center. And that's going to give us our handle. So now what we're going to do is start heating up and tapering our limbs. Okay. So I'm using an adjustable flattening jig, though any set of 2x4s with a couple of spacers will work. And for this bow I'm using 3/4 inch high spacers. Since we have a fire today, I'm just going to be heating up both limbs. And when you're using something like an open fire, it's really important just to keep it moving. You don't want to stop and hold it, and if you're going to stay in one spot, you need to turn the pipe. Otherwise you're going to burn it. It's kind of like roasting a marshmallow, except you don't want it to burn. I know some people like to burn their marshmallows.
I don't judge.
And keep in mind that the pipe is going to be very hot, about 300 degrees when it's soft, so you should wear gloves.
Kind of like heating glass. You ever seen glass? Yeah.
Yeah. Somebody said that the way I do bows is more like glass blowing than anything.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Come watch.
That looks like a noodle.
It looks like a noodle. Yeah. You see noodles?
When we're done.
Yeah.
Just a little bit on the handle. You should be able to take 2 fingers and just press the pipe walls together. It needs to be that soft. Because if there are any hard spots, it won't taper properly.
It'll just break.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now I throw it into the jig, stretch it just a little bit to straighten it out. Place my jig at the middle, move this back so I don't roast my face, and apply some weight to it.
Just hardening it with this. And you got it right at your mark, right?
Yep, right at the center. And it takes about 50 pounds if you just have weights, but I found that for people, if you weigh about 150 pounds, you shouldn't have any problems.
Okay. So this jig is set up so that it's tapered and it's a little thicker on the end right here,
Yep.
Correct?
Thicker in the middle, thinner on the
And
end.
thinner on the end. And you do that by just adding some screws in there or some washers?
Yep, these are just carriage bolts.
Okay,
You can
cool.
use pretty much anything, and even just blocks of wood on the sides would work.
What's the measurement? Is that like an inch of taper?
3/4 of an inch.
3/4 of an inch taper?
Which is the inside diameter of the pipe.
Oh, okay.
And as a rule of thumb, a good, consistent performing bow will usually start the taper at the inside diameter of the pipe.
Okay, yeah, excellent.
It's pretty much there though. Okay.
Are you making this video online?
So now we're going to heat up the second limb.
And start taking noodles.
And one thing, when you're using a fire, it's better to use coals than it is the initial flame, because it'll be harder to see if you make any mistakes, because the pipe will get, carburized or coated with carbon. It'll turn black. Just straighten it out a little bit. Place it on the center. And then when you're going for the second press, you just want to make sure that the other limb is flat in relation to the other one. Because any bends are easy to fix, but twists are harder to, so just make sure it's nice and straight and somewhat lined up. Alright, so if you can see, there's a little bit of a bend in the pipe. So to fix that while it's still a little warm, just bend against the curve. There's another one back here. Just a little bit of shaping. And the limb is pretty much straight.
Oh, nice.
So you want to find a really concentrated section of heat and just start heating up the center of the pipe. So you want to heat up the center until it starts to puff back up. And that's one of the nice things with the pipe, is if you ever mess up, just reheat the whole limb and it'll come back to full round. And one way to tell if you've burned a pipe is that if you've burned it and it's brittle and no longer safe, it won't return when you heat it up. So now that the center is nice and pliable, I'll place it on my board. And this is where I'm going to straighten everything out. So now is a good step to have gloves. And you just want to press and then give it a little bit and then press. And after a while, it's going to want to hold that shape a little more. And once it gets to about that point, you try to put in your final shape. And we're just going to thin this out a little bit, just about 3/4 of an inch or so. So now that I've got that roughed in, I just take my palms and cement the transitions at the top and bottom and thin out my handle. Now that this is still warm, you can see that limb is going off. So just like before, just go against the curve. So since we're going to make this a long bow, right now I'm just going to take the bow and just flex it just a tiny bit, just to give it a tiny bit of reflex, not a whole lot. So you can see right now we've got maybe an inch of reflex or setback. So I'm just making some simple pin knocks on this. And this will work for a recurve or just a simple
Like a
flat
template.
bow like this. Yeah,
Yeah.
just so I have a place to cut. So now I'm using a hacksaw frame with a rod saw or a tile saw in it. And this is really good because it'll cut hard materials like PVC and stone, but it won't cut you.
Hopefully.
You gotta try really hard.
You have a little faith.
Just go just a touch more. Okay, now that we've got the knocks cut, I'm just going to round things off with a file, just so that sharp edges won't cut the string. Okay, there it is. I've got some paracord, and this is poly paracord. It's usually a little cheaper than 550 cord because it's made with polyester or polyethylene fibers instead of nylon, so it doesn't stretch like regular paracord. So I'm just tying a simple overhand knot, place it on one side, and we're bending against the reflex, so we're going to be bending the bow this way. Bring it over to the other side, and then I measure about 4 inches from the end and tie a second knot. And this will help stretch out the string and get it set up to its final length. From there, cut
It's
my
basically
excess.
4 inches from the top so that you can compensate for the bend. Right?
Yep.
Okay.
So usually you go about, for the brace height I'm going for, you want your string to be about 4 inches from the end. But tying the knot allows to compensate for a little bit of stretching in the string. Then I just step through. There you go.
Bam. That's awesome.
Sounds good. But there it is.
All right, guys, thanks for watching this. That is just like field expedient, so fast to knock these puppies out, and you know, I think it's one of the awesomest. This is like the perfect mix of urban technology and primitive survival concepts. That is just freaking awesome. So, anyway, if you haven't already subscribed to his channel, make sure you subscribe. It's Backyard Bowyer. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, please do so as well. T-Jack Survival. Okay, guys, thanks for watching.